Hello, folks. Welcome back. Today we have with us Tarun Marwa sir, who is the lead DevOps at ABB. He'll be taking the session ahead on DevOps and Kubernetes, and today he'll be telling us on how to deploy and how to secure our Kubernetes cluster. So, without any delay, let's start with the session. Over to you, sir.
Uh, Hello, good evening, folks. Today we will deploy the application to the multi-node cluster, multi-container application deployed to multi-node cluster, and probably we will see how to deploy handle the code via DevOps pipeline. As we just saw, like how we have provisioned the infrastructure. So this is the infrastructure which we have provisioned. So this is the infrastructure which we have provisioned. I can quickly reshare the infrastructure which we have provisioned, and then we can get started. So pretty much we have configured almost 70 to 18 resources. So that's comprising of in the three resource groups. One the AKS hands-on lab, and one is the MCAK hands-on cluster, and one is the default resource group where the container insights are being stored. So apart from that, this is the let me show the Kubernetes cluster, which is again hosted in the AKS hands-on lab, and this is the AKS cluster ACR. We have sorted out the permissions. We have attached ACR pull role to of ACR to the AKS cluster. This is the SQL Server in the backend, which we have deployed. So now we are going to deploy the application, which looks like this. So I could have a quick diagram of the application, which looks like it. So it's like we will deploy CI application, which will the CI part of the DevOps, where we will pull the code from the GitHub repo. We have cloned it already, and I just ran one sample of the code, and now we will rerun the again by editing the pipelines. And this Docker image will be deployed to the container registry, and from container registry it will be pulled to the Kubernetes cluster with the ACR pull rule which we have created. In the front end, we will have the load balancer. In the back end, we will have the Redis cache. If you see the node being deployed in the, so we have in the cluster in the Kubernetes cluster we have two nodes, like three nodes, and in node we have pods deployed, and then in pod in the inside the pods we have the container deployed. So when two or more pods are deployed in a particular node, right? So they communicate with a bridge network, which is the Docker bridge. Like, so they communicate with a bridge network. So that's how they will communicate. And yeah, so with the, I think we can start with the pipeline concept. So we'll start configuring the pipelines now, since we have just saw the infrastructure which has been deployed. So this is the infrastructure which the basic infrastructure which has been deployed, and then we have MC AKS hands-on labs. So this will contain the node pools, and the virtual machine skill set, including the managed entity of the AKS cluster. You know, managed. See, for AKS to attach to the container registry with the via ACR pull role, we need to have managed identity, some identity of the resource. So that is called AKS cluster agent pool, which we managed entity which we have created. Public IP and the Kubernetes load balancer, and then we have the managed entity. So pretty much this is the infrastructure we have, the MC cluster, and then a resource group, and then this we have AKS hands-on lab, where we have the actual resources being deployed. And there is one more thing, here. So default resource group. So here we have the container insights and the default workspace, which will contain the health of the solution, the health of the cluster, of the Kubernetes, right? So that's pretty much. And now we will try to configure the pipelines. And yes, so this is we'll go to the pipeline details, and then we will fetch it. So yeah, this is the pipelines we just so we'll go to a new pipeline, right? Or we'll just Yeah, let me go to new pipeline. So this is the project where we have actually cloned like multi-container apps is the organization, and this is the project AKS 0904 where we have cloned. And when we go to repositories, this is the repository which we have cloned, right? So and this is the YAML files, Azure Pipelines YAML, which will contain the YAML code, the code to replace tokens. The CI pipeline, and like it has all the steps actually, where it will deploy. And this AKS MX AKS is the YAML file of the Kubernetes cluster, and this is the Azure pipelines for the steps for the Azure DevOps pipeline. So this is where the application will be deployed in the containers, and this is where the stages will come, like replace token 3, and Docker Compose will, like it will run service, build service, push service, and log service, and copy files to the artifactory. So and this is a Docker Compose file which will like push the image to the container registry. Now go to this one, and we go to like edit, and we will configure this code. Once this load, I think, yeah, so this will come probably, yeah, Ubuntu, this is coming, right? So this you saw, inherit from pipeline, and this is pretty much coming from the code. And we have containers. You see, just we have to edit the subscriptions. So yeah, so just hold on. So this just came up, and then the registry, okay, it is not been came up. So so we just have to authorize like that it's authorized us, what you say, that subscription, so that it can pick up the resources which you have created. So we just a single sign on which uh, it has been created. So here we just logged into this one container registry, and it's showing the container registry. Okay, so I think it's not been shown here. So we'll just probably we can reconfigure the code. And the multi-container apps, we will just configure the pipeline again in the multi-container apps, and then we will just AKS test. We'll just try to replicate this again and create, uh, and then we will see if there is an issue. So like this is the error which. Yeah, so we're creating some second project. So I think it's some issue which it's not taking the token. So we'll go to the pipeline and we'll, okay, run service. So I think so for some reason, so it's creating the project and the like work items and build definition has been created. So we are all together creating a new what you say the project, so that it doesn't face any it doesn't face any issue. So just recreate it and see what it does. I think it's just creating the new build and when we go to the build and release definition, it has created the new build definition and new release definition. So this is where now it's a clean code. This is the clean code now. So which we are. So this is a YAML based pipeline or this is a classic based pipeline. So you can either of the both of these you can do. So when you do with a YAML, you have to edit the pipeline and edit the steps. That's it. That's a difference. Which we there's a if you see this is a YAML based thing which you have to do. So when you go to the task replace tokens, so when you go to the Docker registry, I think it has already taken uh, Docker registry. This like we can take this one, so you can. This is Docker Compose, right? Which we have to take in registry. So this will as your subscription, and when you authorize it, it's the same like which we does. So this is a YAML, and that is to classical. So that's the only difference. Which we will just authorize it, and we'll try to provision this infrastructure. And see, it came right ACS 04. So it will update the values actually. So that's how it will do. And so if you see here, like I'm just trying to build pipeline via YAML definition. So let's not go with the classic. Let's go with the YAML. So when you go to the run services settings, when you go, so settings when you go, so this is like uh, you do a run services and in the command you authorize it and you Docker compose file is what it's already mentioned, I think. Docker compose file is already there. So project name is build, repository name is the AKS which it will deploy, and qualifier and a Docker compose command. And then you put a authorize, you will be prompted to authorize the connection that we have done. And following that, we will add this. So I think this is you will click on this one. It will point to pay as you go. Container registry it will point to 04. Will it will so this that's it. Run build image. Okay, this will add the step. Okay, and now it will now this is called YAML based scripting. This is called like a YAML based scripting. Like you authorize this. So the other one is the classical one. This is the YAML based pipeline as a code. This is the concept of pipeline as a code. So like we have provisioned the infrastructure and it is taking the Docker Compose YAML file, which we saw in the committed in the repository. So and then we will just build the service image. What we'll do, it will building the service image, right? We just add this code And when this is the Docker Compose, it's just like doing through the classical way. This is YAML way of doing the configuring the pipelines. So yes, 04 Docker Compose file, YAML file it will take, and the push. So this is a push service. Right now, it will push the image to the ACR. So that's what it will do. And once this is done, we will just add this step, right? So if you see, yes, this is logging to the server, and then this will also it's added. Now we'll lock the service. Till the time it's been pushing, no one should be able to make any changes to the registry, container registry, till the time it has been already committed in the code. So no one should be able to do any changes. So it will compose a Docker compose YAML file in the repository. It will compose that file, and it will lock the action is the locking the file. Actually, it will do. Now copy files is like we will again see what is the our action here. I think we don't have any action here, so we will just yeah. I think that's it. We'll just add it, and then copy file we have already done. So we will kind of save it. Yeah, of course. I think variables. Let me see if I have to add. But yes, variables you have to add, of course. The ACR name, you have to add your ACR name, which is this is the ACR name which you had to add actually. SQL password, I think pretty much we have kept. No, this is changed again. This is the which we have kept. Keep this value as a secret. Okay. SQL Server is what we have to mention. This SQL Server which we have provisioned. So these are the value. SQL user is I think we have kept user as SQL admin, which you can keep as so this is because we are hosting an application, right? So SQL user, SQL admin, then writes. So this is the like commands which we have executed. So just checking what is the like SQL username which we have kept. SQL is SQL admin only. I think this is already done. I think yeah, it's already done. So we don't have to save anything. Yeah, so this is done. Variable is also saved now. So when the variable is saved, so we have to configure. I think this is saved pretty much. Audited and will save we have to do, and then we have to go to the release pipeline, and obviously we have to once we have to create a new release. Probably we can add it also. Now, see, we have configured the CI pipeline, so we need to configure the deployment pipeline. So DACPAC release is what it's been deployed because SQL is also there, right? So it will deploy the schema changes. SQL authentication is the username, server name, database name, SQL username. We have to update in the pipeline. This is CD definition, right? So we have to update those values here. So just hold on. So we have to update those values here. SQL server name, JB name, backpack file which we have to deploy. So this is creating deployment services in AKS. Uh, this is the subscription which we have done. This is the resource group, and cluster name should also come automatically. This is the cluster name which it's there. Default namespace is yes, we have kept the default name. In the secrets, it's a in container secrets will also be deployed right in container registry if any keyword, password, and username is stored. So which this also needs to be we need to authenticate, and then updating the images. Like the container image which we have deployed should be also deployed the Kubernetes, right? So if any updates happens in the CI pipeline, it should update the image automatically. It will push via container registry to the AKS. So this is the mandatory task which we have to step, which we have to a stage which we have to add in the AKS deployment actually. So this is like the we have to authenticate, and this is the cluster which we have to add, the Kubernetes cluster. And namespace, like you can give a default namespace, or you can if you leave it as blank, it will be deployed in the default namespace. Otherwise it will be created in this namespace. Is a namespace is basically a logical entity where application gets deployed inside the Kubernetes cluster. So we have default name, four types of namespaces which we saw. Yeah, so this is like just yeah, secrets is what we have done. Now we will go to variables again. Then we need to put this ACR values. Password, I think this is the one which we have put. Remember, you need to add it, not show these values, but this is the test environment. So and the username is SQL admin only, so we are just saving it right now. So I think we'll manually push it, configuring a release pipeline. So we'll just manually push it and see the status. I think it has been already been, I think, triggered because we just updated the build definition. This is like the logs to check the pipeline if it has been deployed or not. So it's running the code. It's been pulled from the last guy who has pulled the code. Till that time, I think we can see the code, right? The code which we have deployed the repository. So if you see the repository, this is like it's taking the basically this is the main file to deploy the to define the stages. This is the YAML file of the Docker we have, where we define the we'll see the Docker image which has been deployed. We'll see after this. Once this is successful, we'll see the Docker image will be deployed, and the third YAML file is the actual file of the Kubernetes which we just saw. Yeah. So yeah, so this is like which we define, and then we have the backpack file, SQL file, which we which will see which we have deployed. Because the SQL deployment, right? SQL is the backend. We are hosting a altogether different website, health website. containerized .NET application is there, which will be hosted ASP.NET application, which is there. So we'll just see it. So I think it's still running the service building. I think we'll see the things which are getting deployed. Uh, so pushing the build, running and building the services, we will see. I think by this time this might have been deployed. No, I think by push it will be deployed once it's running, building, and then pushing the service image. It will push to the container registry, and from here the CD pipeline will be triggered. When it's pushed, then when this success step is success, yeah, this is done. So if you see my health.web repository is there. So now it will pick the latest image. This is the latest image. This is the repository, and there are two tags created, latest and 7. Now this has been done. Now we'll go to the release pipeline, right? So see, this is like stage like so it has been deployed, right? The stage will trigger to automate. So this repository has been already been deployed, the dev. So we will see in the pipeline. If you see, this is already been deployed. The repository in the so this is like copy files and publish artifacts. This is a self-hosted agent and it has been deployed under it is a working directory. So deploy is the file which we have deployed. Copy the files, backpack, finish copying the files and finalizing the job. And we upload artifact, publish, finishing up the artifact. So now this has been uploading three files uploaded. So when you go to the, let me go to the, this is the history which has been deployed, like in the branch actually. So and we go to the release, and when we create a release, we see because it was already deployed in artifact, and when we this is like a dev pipeline which we have just created automatic trigger. So stages for trigger is like it is the artifact which has been published, and this is the AKS build one, right, which we have just we just saw. So I think just hold on while I go to the previous artifact release. So I think some mistake which we might have done. So it's taking the latest release, my health website, latest one. It has been picked up. Like it has deployed this application. When you go to the release, my health latest and 7. HS test 03, and this is the pipeline which we have created. So I think when you go to this and edit it, there is some issue. Like it's although it has been deployed, but SQL username, password, and SQL. So see now the version has came. So we have not linked. So this is the classical way. So now we have done with the YAML based thing, right? So like we have if you see we have added that manually because we have done with the YAML. With the YAML one, you need to add this artifactory because this version should come automatically. So now it will pick from this one. So and we can actually delete this one, yeah. And then this will be triggered. This will be triggered, right? And this is the version which will it come. So if you see here, version is coming and the YAML thing is also coming. Now we will quickly do and save. So now you click. I think now this will deploy the application because it was not been linked. The because we have deployed with the YAML thing, right? There were two ways, the classic and the YAML. Classic was done logs, so not yet deployed. So we have de-linked the previous one and linked the YAML because we have done Visa. We are doing as a pipeline as a code. So this is how you will deploy using a pipeline. So this that previous method was a classical. So the artifact which was there linked was linked to the repository of the classical. Now this is the pipeline as a code, YAML based deployment. So this is now the DB deployment is in progress, and probably I won't be able to browse the application. Uh, no resource from the server name SQL Server 04059. Okay, now see no resource found with server name SQL Server 0409. Just hold on. Now let me go to the again and go to the all resources. It's saying SQL Server not found. So no resource found with the server name SQL Server 0409. This is pretty much there. So this is the manual deploy which we are doing right now. So let's see. We have just changed the agent to 2017 to see if this progresses. So I'm really not sure because name is like pretty much we have kept the same. Like SQL Server 0409. This is the connection string. SQL database is let's see DB. What is the warning now? I think no, it should. Now it should start. Yeah, it's starting. So only thing is like I've changed the agent name, but I've not done anything because name is pretty much the same. But previously it was Windows Server 2019. I've changed to 2017. So like timeout is 120 minutes, but I think it should succeed. 120 seconds, sorry. Initializing deployment, analyzing deployment, creating tables, ASP, not role claims, or user ID, net username, creating index, creating tables, creating index, creating foreign key, clinical appointments, expenses summaries, medicine trends. It's a lot of foreign key. This is the schema which has been trying to create. Update complete. Importing data. This has been done now. It has been deploying the EKS. It will update the images, right, which we have done. So it will just what is the error now we have got? So now this says let me disable this task because schema has been created. So it's saying no configuration. Why this is coming? First of all, is here my secret key configuration file was one arguments key will apply namespace. Let me see if this will help. I have disabled the backpack because backpack we have already deployed. So I have just changed the path of so that it takes the Kubernetes deployment which is pending. Well, this is it's, I'm not sure how much this will help, but I'm just trying. Sorry, I think this doesn't help. Is it again the issue with the agent specification? Yes, there is a dependency, uh, like with the agent actually. There is a dependency, guys, like with the hardcore dependency of the deployment build. Like for AKS, we do have. AKS or deployment, we have to use Ubuntu 16.04, but this is not even. Could not find a directory. So, okay, so what does this say like for the Kubernetes deployment? So this says that we have to give tell. But why I'm just thinking why it's not taking that part, because this is already deployed in the artifact, and just we saw that this is already committed in the code. MHC AKS the YAML deployment is there. I'm not sure why it's not taking. It should not have any agent dependency, but Ubuntu latest image 20.04 will take not a not a directory. Okay. We'll just see what is mentioned in the. This is AKS test URL 0. So what's mentioned in the this pipeline? In the pipeline, in the release definition, which got passed also. So we will see what's. Okay, it's deployed this file path. We have given till file path, right? It's a file deploy maks.yaml. maks.yaml. File path, okay, this should run at 18.04, and we are taking from this. There's only differences I'm taking earlier from this version, but that should not matter, I think. We have taken till the file path now, but that's what we did here last time also, but I'm not sure why it's not taking this time. Let me see. So last try and then. I think there is some serialization in the code, which may we have to debug later. But I think this is like once it will deploy, uh, like in the pipeline, it should release uh, artifact. So artifact should be like this. So you see that then the repository is trying to push and then it's trying to deploy. So once it's all done, it should create actually the at least we can actually see the cluster which is being deployed, which is uh, which is this one. the cloud.shell.com. So we just see the shell, reconnect, and at least the pods and at least one of the application would be deployed. At least the DB cluster pod might be have been deployed. So let us check what has been deployed till now. To deploy application. So I think as of now, no resource to find and defined namespace because this is expected because there is some issue which could not find a directory. It says which could not a directory. It's not a directory. So because I think this is not been probably not a directory. It says. Also, probably maybe CD not a file or directory. You might have done something wrong, but which I'm unable to locate at this point in time. My this is the download artifactory, which is fine. I think all scripts, but I don't know why this is still failing. This is like This is the artifact which has been created, and this is the AKS file which has been cd, not a directory. So it's taking my health AKS build YAML deploy, not a directory. So we don't have to specify directory, is it? So if we go to it's not a directory means again. I think what I've done, I don't know. Maybe like deployment artifacts were still there and just linked properly. Action. So now I've specified the directory and not giving the file path. Also, it's although it says file path. Now I'm not giving a file path because it's keep on failing. And then let me try last time. Otherwise, I think the conceptual wise, I think try to explain, but I think somehow the demo is not working. So, but if it's not a directory, we have put into file path directory to the file path. Okay, we have put into deploy. Now it should pass at least because I was giving till file name, which was not right. But now I've given till deploy. Otherwise, I think, mm, yeah, I think it will end this demo now. So, uh, but yes, I can give the links which you can refer to create this. No, I think there is some issue updating image in AKS. Probably it's not been able to create. I think it is expected because it has not been deployed. Nothing has been deployed. Like this is one, and let me try the old one, which I don't know if it will do the things or not because the values are pretty much the same. But this is to the classical one. If this is the last try, if not, then because the values are pretty much the same, I don't need to edit anything. I'm just trying with the old pipeline, the classical way of doing the pipeline. So I think till the time this is because we are trying to deploy with the second pipeline with the pretty much the same value. Kubernetes, if the meantime you want to learn, I think best place is to through the Kubernetes. These are the couple of sites which I think I have mentioned in the resources section as well. Just production. So I think I can refer and add these URLs like for the production environments also these are the urls which conceptually I can create a concept and I can just share these kind of slides as well, so you can just refer to these and I think yeah, so and this is the github url I azure devops and which we have referred. And for this, there is a Kubernetes architecture, very good video, which you can go through, like the architect describing the architectural components of Kubernetes. Kubernetes are very good one actually, conceptual, and this is the one architectural conceptual tutorial. So I hope this helps you. So yeah, so um, once this is done, I think so. This is all about I think the administering the Kubernetes. So I think if this completes, it's okay. If not, then I think I think pretty much I've covered what I'm trying to do. So just allow a few steps before we wind up. I'm just trying with my second project. Pretty much values are the same. So let's see. Importing the schema changes. So just in the meantime, I would suggest just go through all this training, right? So this is the best one to go through. So just go through this one. So It will deploy actually show the Kubernetes architecture and conceptual things for the beginners. You can go through and start learning through this. There are series of videos available on Kubernetes, and I think so. Yeah, so just waiting for this one. So we just go through this one, and I think uh, can share you things. I think no, it's deploying some crazy thing which has happened last time. So yeah, finally it has been created. So see, it will I think come up. It should come up in the running state soon. So backend pod, you see it's running. Backend was Redis cache. Front end was load balancer. In load balancer, uh, yeah. So image, there is some error image back of pull. So once we do that, I think we'll get pods and then front end watch which we have to execute. No, so this is the IP which we have to browse and check if we are able to. I'm not sure if I will be able to launch the application because I am behind the proxy, but still I will make a try. This is running on port 3269. I have to enter port also. So this is port is blocked actually. Oh, I won't be able to access. I'm not sure if you can try it, but uh, Varun, like I'm not sure if you can try it because I am behind proxy. I won't be able to deploy. See that in the browser, or I have to give you the check if you are able to browse. But when we go to the Kubernetes cluster thing, this is deployed now. So we can just go to our resources and resource groups, and you go to the IKEA's hands-on labs. So I think this is yeah. So I think this application is deployed. So now to go to services and ingress, it should show you the service which is deployed. You can access through it. If not, then it is behind proxy and I won't be able to show this one. So I think probably I'm banned with the proxy. I'm not able to see the application. So I think this is it from my end, Varun. And I can share the slides after the session to you. I'm not able to hear you. Sorry. Hello.
Oh, I'm really sorry. I was on mute. I hope now you can hear me.
Yeah, it's audible now. Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying that thank you very much, sir, for coming up with such an insightful session on Friday night, taking out your precious leisure time for the community folks. We really appreciate your efforts. Thank you very much. And I think that this was really very insightful session for our audience as well. I would like to request our audience to, I'll thank you to all the audience for being such a lovely and patient audience and bearing with us. Thank you, everyone. So let's wrap up with the session.
Sure.
Thank you, guys.
Uh,
Good night. You want to say something, sir?
well, nothing. I can share up the slides. I do have some contents on the slides. So yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. You can send me and then we'll send it to all the community folks.
Sure, Varun. Okay.